What up? Welcome back. 6-3 yesterday. Conference tournament games today. Let's hit the hardwood back. Let's go make this money right now. What up, boys and girls? Welcome back to Spreads and Props. I am your lovely host, Derek, and we are back on the hardwood today in college basketball. This is day 2 of some of these conference tournaments, day 1 of a lot more conference tournaments going on. And if you know me, you know I love mid-major basketball. This is what we're diving into today. There are some good college basketball games in the Big 12, Big 10. There's some action out there, but these lines are they're so sharp. I ran through my model again this morning, and just the only thing it wants to spit out to me is mid-major basketball because, again, these are where the books just don't pay as close attention to it. So we have some angles in some of these games. There are some good games that I do like some stuff in. So if you're one of those bettors who just wants to wager on the games you can watch on television, I get it. But to be honest, if you have like the ESPN app, every one of these games is on TV in some high school looking gym somewhere, and we can still make money on it and follow along. So 6-3 day yesterday, as I said in the intro. Let's piggyback off of that. Let's keep going. 66% is solid. I believe industry average is 54%. And that's winning no matter what, but 66%. Let's try to piggyback off of that. Good size slate, but really, really sharp angles that I'm going to take here on some of these games. I don't like anything super crazy out there, but let's dive into it. First one I'm going to hit you guys with is North Texas. They burned me personally the other day, but just in this game that I'm going to look at today versus Rice, I can't really ignore what's there. Both these teams are really good against the spread, so that's the first thing that worries me. North Texas is at home. They're laying 7.5 points. That's the side we're on, just foreshadowing. But both these teams are good at covering the spread, so the first thing you worry about with that is free throw shooting. North Texas shoots 69% from the free throw line. Nice, but in this case, not nice. Because we need them to cover in late in games when you're up 5 and the other team's going to foul you. Can you knock down free throws that are going to push this number across? Thankfully, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to get to that point. North Texas only shoots 30% from 3, so they are not a good three-point shooting team. But conversely, they also only give up 30% from 3, and Rice is a three-point shooting team. So if you can limit your opponent to what they do best in college basketball, you may not need all those free throws at the end. I'm not saying North Texas is going to win by 15 or 20, and this is a no-sweat bet. We're late in the college basketball season. We're into March. These lines are mostly sharp. But if we're looking for some sort of advantage, my model's got this game at almost 11 points for North Texas, so we're getting 3.5 points of value with it. I know that North Texas scores about 92 points per 100 possessions. It's not great offensively, but they only give up 88 points per 100 possessions, and that is a top 40 defense in the country. So at home with a top 40 defense against a Rice team that Rice scores 94 points per 100 possessions, which isn't great. It's around 200 and something in the country. But they allow 95 points per 100 possessions, which is 185th in the country. So their defense isn't good either. So North Texas doesn't like to score, but has a phenomenal defense. Rice doesn't really like to score and doesn't really like to play defense. So they're kind of very middling to lower pack in both of those ends. I just don't think their efficiency is there to be able to get them to this point. With that being said, the other angle I did look at in this game, just real quick before we get off of it, we're on North Texas minus 7.5 at home. I think this is a good spot for them. They've been a pretty good home team. They're the better team out of these two. And this is not a conference tournament game, so there is no incentive for Rice to absolutely blow it out of the water at the end of this game here and try their very hardest. You know, if this game is not salvageable, I don't see much in Rice's effort at the end of this game. But what I will say is the model I have also likes the under in this game at 139 points. That's about, I want to say it was 5 points less than what these two teams average combined. But when you take into account the poor free throw shooting of North Texas and the perpetuancy for Rice to have to make three-pointers for them to have any chance in a game, if you're going to take North Texas minus 7.5, you have to presume then that Rice is not going to be making their three-pointers, because North Texas not only is not a three-point shooting team, they're not even a good two-point shooting team. They cause turnovers, and that's how they score. And Rice is not a good ball-handling team. So if you have a team like North Texas who is taking long possessions in the half court, Rice is going to be shooting three-pointers, but they're going to have to work the ball around to even get open three-pointers in the first place. North Texas doesn't make free throws, which is the death to an under is free throws. I kind of like the number, but my model is turning out this game at 143 points. That's 4 points over it. So I'll say, for argument's sake of the video, I think this is probably going to go under the total of 139. But if you want to be contrarian and say, well, North Texas minus 7.5 says this is an under game, if we're going to lose either side of this bet, I'm going to say that it's going to be on the over-under and that North Texas will be forced to go over what they normally would do here, and I would say that we would go over 139. I'm not going to make it an official play, but just for some information on that game. Because, again, this is a good-sized slate, but I just don't have a lot of action on it because I don't feel like anything is very, very, kind of trustworthy as far as the spreads or the totals go in this game, or any game for that matter. It's very, very tight. I do have some money line picks that I will throw out to you guys at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Because if you make it to the money line portion of this, these are just going to be games where I think if you want to make a 4-team parlay with some of these teams in a money line, this is a bankroll building day, is what this is, because these spreads are very tight, but these teams should all win. Because I don't know if you watched yesterday, I did tell you on the video, this is where I make my money in college basketball, is these conference tournaments and these lower conferences, the Patriot League, the A-Sun, the Southland, conferences like that most of you don't watch, and I watch a ton of college basketball. If you're not watching these games, you don't know that these top teams, a lot of these teams are like 20-10. They're good teams, and they're playing somebody who's 9-20, and they're gonna beat this team in a conference tournament. But the line might be 11, and you just can't risk that. But you can say they're going to win on a money line, or they're going to win in the first half of these games, because that's what they do. So we'll stick around to the end. I have some of those to throw out. North Texas minus 7.5 would be the play I'm going to go with here if I'm going to take anything in this game, and that is the strongest play on the board that my model has. Second game that we're going to move to is a bigger game, a more marquee game on the slate. We have the Baylor Bears walking into Houston to take on Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars. If you know anything about me, I am a Houston Cougars fan as far as March Madness goes. I have them every year causing complete ruckus because they are a strong tournament team. They play defense when they need to, absolutely suffocating defense when they need to, but they have turned into an offensive machine. Kingston Fleming, I don't even want to call him all-world, but this kid is following this trajectory of like Acuff at Arkansas, like these young guards in the Tanner at Vanderbilt last night. These young guards that they have no fear and they just want to take over the game. They're not even real point guards. They're more like combo guards, but you put the ball in their hand, they're fantastic. Houston's got Emmanuel Sharp in the backcourt with Fleming. So this is a big number. It's at 15.5 right now. Am I scared of a backdoor cover? Possibly. It depends on the style of game that Houston plays today. Houston, for the first time in a long time, lost back-to-back games about a week ago. They've lost 3 games in the last 2 weeks, which it's been, I could say, close to a decade since Houston has done anything like that. When Kelvin Sampson is there, this team just wins. Their perpetuancy for finishing like 28-4 and winning their conference has been great now that they've joined the Big 12. Even then, last year, best team in the Big 12. And they're right there again. They've lost 3 games, though recently it's got them to 24-5. But otherwise, they were staring a 1 seed in the face, and they still may get a 1 seed. I think they're a viable team. If you have them as a 2 whoever they put against that 1 seed is going to be really pissed that that's in their side of the bracket. So quick reasons why. Baylor scores 81 points a game. They are a top 50 offense. But they give up 79 points a game. They're outside the top 120 in Ken Palm. And so that's an efficiency rating metric. And you don't want to have a team like that against Houston where there's that balance of you scoring a lot but giving up too much. Houston can decide which way they want to play that game. I think they're going to be pissed coming off of they did just blow Colorado out by 40, so if that says anything to you, Kelvin Sampson, after losing back-to-back games, did not take his foot off the gas, just absolutely destroyed an inferior team. Baylor historically is not an inferior team, but this year Scott Drew just doesn't have his team humming. Typically they're a defensive team. Being outside the top 120 in Ken Palm in defense just shows me that Scott Drew has no handle on this team. They do have a ton of guard scoring, as they always do. Look at VJ Edgecombe from last year if you want to look no further, and this is just the kind of team that they've had for a while. Davion Mitchell, like people like that he's just had that are just good guards, good NBA guards. They have those kind of players again, but for whatever reason, they're not playing any defense, and I feel like this game is going to get into a track meet. My model had this game going at an under, and I don't see how that's possible the way Houston is playing right now and the way Baylor can play. So with that 15.5 number, I'm going to stay off of that. But what I am going to get on is a Houston first half. I've looked around. This number's been all over the place from 8 to 9.5. I see a 7.5 out there. These are on books that I'm not on. My Hard Rock has 8.5, and I'm on Houston minus 8.5 in the first half. This team's going to come out guns blazing, and I just think Baylor is going to try to keep up with a team on offense, and when Houston starts scoring, getting the crowd behind them, and then starts to lock in on defense, which is what Kelvin Sampson still preaches, they're 7th in defensive efficiency, and they force turnovers on 18% of the other team's possessions. So almost 1 out of 5 times you bring the ball down the court, Houston's going to take it away from you or force you to throw it out of bounds or whatever. And with these young guards for Baylor, I just see a lot of turnovers. I see them getting down early. Now, could they creep back in and again, backdoor cover minus 15.5? Sure. But I think with that second half and Baylor just coming out and playing a little more free, I expect this total to go over also. I know that it was an under total initially of 141.5. I think Houston scores probably 80 points in this game. And so we can see Baylor get to 65 and push this total over. So I'm on Houston first half minus 8.5. I am on the over 141.5. So if you want another pick in this game, I do like the first half a little bit stronger, but I'm okay with either side being a good play. I think I'll make them both probably official plays in this game. Just to piggyback, Baylor's lost 5 of 7 games. They did when they beat somebody ranked recently. I want to say it was Iowa State. Maybe Kansas, somebody like that just, are they good? Are they not good? But Baylor played a great offensive game against that team. And both those teams I did mention are defensive teams. So if it was against one of those teams, and I can't remember off the top of my head, if you're shouting it at the screen, I don't remember. I want to say Baylor, I'll just look it up real quick here just to tell you. Baylor basketball here. They play offense all the time. So I just expect them to play offense against Houston here, but I just expect the slower pace to be at the beginning of the game for Baylor's offense. So don't worry about that. We'll move on from that one. My third pick here is going to be a very, 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 very ugly basketball game between some ugly basketball teams. Let's see. Baylor was 87-80, by the way, against Arizona. They lost that game, but a lot of points there against a good team. UCF, they scored 87 points against. Louisville, they scored 71 points against. BYU, 94 points against. Even Iowa State, who is a good defensive team, they scored 69 points. So I think we get there on that number, just pivoting off of that. Last one is going to be, we're going to take SIU Edwardsville. Who? Huh? What? minus 5.5. This is a conference tournament game. They are playing Eastern Illinois. Both teams are pretty mediocre, with SIU Edwardsville being the better team of the two. This game is being played in Indiana, and they're both teams from Illinois, but this is where their conference tournament game is at. So with SIU Edwardsville, the thing that they're 18-10 to the under this year. So they're a very slow playing offensive team, but they're an even better defensive team. I have written down here, they're top 10 in opponent field goal percentage in the entire country. So teams shoot under 40% against them. That bodes terrible for Eastern Illinois, whose offensive metrics they're not even worth mentioning. They've lost 3 of 4 games. You don't need too much data on this game as to why, because it's not going to sway you, because you weren't looking at picking this game in the first place. I'm telling you to pick it because it's there and these numbers have not been corrected. This game is being played on a neutral court, which I think is the only reason why this spread is 5.5. My model makes it 9.5. These teams just played a few days ago, okay? Just for context, SIU won by 27 points. I don't need to really see any more than that. You just played them a couple days ago. You won by 27. There's not going to be some revenge factor because this is a conference tournament game. Your season is over, and you don't have the defense is too good for SIU Edwardsville, a team I have used in the past. Eastern Illinois' offense is not good. SIU plays constant under games. Of their 28 games, they've played 18 of them to the under. So they choke you out on defense. 5.5 points when a team just beats you by 27. You just don't have the weapons to be able to come back, or you're going to fall far behind. I think this game is going to be laughable. I'm not saying they're going to win by 27 again, but this has 12, 15, 18-point victory written all over it. So I think this one, I am more sure of North Texas as far as the model goes, but just looking at all the metrics as to how we get to these numbers, this looks like the biggest slam dunk on the board. So they're going to be somebody I'm going to take in Moneyline parlays, as I'll mention to you in a few minutes here. But SIU Edwardsville, minus 5.5. I would take it to minus 8 if it gets there, but I'd lock it in. It's not one of the early games today, but I think that Bella Marina is the only early game today. That kicks off at noon. This video probably won't be out by then, but it'll be close. But I'm not going to touch that game. But everything else you'll see here, you should be able to get, and there shouldn't be too much line movement on a game like this. There won't be a lot of action on it. SIU Edwardsville, they've won 6 of 9 also, not to, 69, nice. Again, we're hitting that stuff, but that's what I'm on for spreads today, are those 3 games. I know it's not a lot. There's like 20 plus games on, but a lot of these conference tournament games, I don't want to touch the spread in. Because it's a conference tournament game. These are very similar teams. I did have another total I wanted to touch on real quick. I gave you the idea of the North Texas over against Rice, even though the model is telling me under. I did get burned by that yesterday, but this just all the numbers that line up here tell me that North Texas is going to push over into the 70-point mark. And if we're looking at a 7.5 point spread, that's just, Rice should be able to get over 60, and we start to kind of creep up onto this number. But it is iffy. I'm going to attach my plays here at the end, but I would stick to that North Texas minus 7.5 for that game. If anything, the more I'm thinking about it and talking about it. I'll throw one more in there for you that I'm kind of gray on. We'll touch on it real quick here because it's a big game. I know you guys like big games. Arkansas is hosting Texas. That might be the biggest game on TV today as far as just the ability and the brand power. You got John Calipari against Sean Miller, Texas, good team. Was just played Florida on TV. Gave up too many points to Florida. We had that game. But real quick, Arkansas minus 7.5. I love that. But even more, I love Arkansas in the first half minus 4. So if you can get Arkansas in the first half minus 4, I'm on that. Texas is a really good team. They have a lot of good players. They score a ton of points. The total in this game is 164.5. Also love that to go over. It's at Arkansas. Arkansas has been playing games in the mid to high 80s every single game they play. Lots of games going into the 90s. This team is capable of scoring 100. Arkansas is a sneaky top 40 defense, even though they don't really show it too often. I think that they could keep Texas in the mid to high 70s maybe and score 85 themselves to kind of get this total close to where it's at. But I think Texas is going to push them, but it's going to come in the second half of the game, and that's why I want to take Arkansas to jump out early and Texas to maybe kind of reel them in a little bit. Too much Acuff, too much Thomas, too much Brazil. Those three guys are just, this team is really, really stellar. Arkansas is a sneaky, and I don't even know if they really are sneaky, but sneaky conference tournament team here in the SEC with a really loaded conference, and then a very sneaky NCAA tournament team. Calipari got them into the Sweet 16 last year. Obviously, they reload with the best young guard in the entire country in Acuff. This kid could win National Player of the Year, in my opinion, if it's not for Boozer, who probably should, but Acuff with a, averaging double-digit assists and 22 points. This guy's a machine. They just got embarrassed by Florida in the big game of the week last week in the Swamp or O-Dome or whatever the hell you want to call it. Hate that place. But you got two top 10 offenses playing in this game, so that's why the over is in play for me. Arkansas's team total minus 80 or over 85.5 also in play. So lots of options there in that game. Pick and choose what you will with that, but I love everything about points in this game. Arkansas winning this game, covering the spread, scoring lots of points. That's what I like there. Let's go to the other total I had real quick. Duquesne and Rhode Island. Duquesne scores 83 points a game, but they are 282nd in opponents' points per game. So they give up a lot of points. They score a lot of points. Rhode Island is top 10 in turnovers forced. Duquesne is 250th at protecting the ball. So Duquesne turns the ball over a lot, scores a lot, gives up a lot of points. And Rhode Island seems to be able to take the ball away. They're top 10 in the country in taking the ball away. So when Duquesne does have it, they can score. When they lose the ball, Rhode Island can score. You see an over. It opened at 141. It's at 143. I would take it up to 145 if you can get it there. I expect a game, both teams to score over 70 points, which obviously gets us over this number. Rhode Island is a short favorite, minus 1.5, so they expect this game to be close. Close game, free throw shooting. You get a 4-point lead, you try to reel them back in. There's lots of points available there, so I really like that one. That's going to be my other one. That will be an official play, over 143.5 at the time of recording this video. And last but not least, as I promised, Moneyline games here. These, again, throw these in a parlay. Do not try to get cute with anything else about these. These are ugly games. Some of these, they're all conference tournament games besides Indiana. Every one of these games is a conference tournament game, so you got to know this team has their season on the line, and they might be 8-point, 9-point favorites, so they might be minus 300, minus 400, but you throw a few of these together, and you get plus money, and it's a bankroll builder. We're not getting rich off of these games, but this is why we take them. They're safe. First one, Florida Gulf Coast versus North Alabama. Severe mismatch. Florida Gulf Coast is like 8-point favorites or something like that. Should blow this team out. Just a lot better team. Second one, James Madison. James Madison is playing Louisiana. James Madison, again, just far better team. Take them on the money line. Third one, I just mentioned, Indiana. Indiana is playing at home against Minnesota. This is not a conference tournament game. Indiana is a far better home team. Minnesota they've been competitive in some games, but Indiana is should mop the floor with them in this game. Fourth one, Lemoyne is playing Stonehill. Lemoyne is a legitimate conference opponent in their conference, and this line is like 11, maybe 10, something like that, but Lemoyne should steamroll them. I got Central Connecticut. Central Connecticut is playing Wagner. Central Connecticut is a team I've been using for the last couple of years. They historically make it to like the Final Four in their conference tournament and then somehow choke. They did it last year as the 1 seed, but in their first round game here against Wagner, blow them out. I got Long Island University playing Chicago State. Long Island, this game is being played in Brooklyn. So they're in the city. I like them in the first half. They're minus 11.5 point favorites for the game, so that's going to be way too juiced for taking the money line for the game. But I like them in the first half. The Sharks, Long Island, baby, are going to just... Chicago State is horrible. Another one, Robert Morris playing Youngstown State. Robert Morris. Again, these are teams that are like 5 or 6 games better in the conference than the other team they're playing. It's just blowout. Robert Morris. 2 more. Oral Roberts. Love Oral Roberts. Playing Kansas City. It's like an 8.9 point favorite. Just take them. Minus 400, whatever they are. Throw them in a parlay. Last one, South Carolina Upstate. Not really a good team. They're like sub 500, but they're playing Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb has 3 wins on the year. Again, this is like a 12-point favorite, but I'm going to take South Carolina Upstate in the first half. Gardner-Webb, everything I looked at, they can't get out of their own way to start a game. They might score like 20 points in the first half and be down by 15. So South Carolina Upstate in the first half. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 money line choices here to go with. Even some of these spreads, you could take North Texas on the money line. You could take Arkansas on the money line. You could take Houston on the money line. All these games are there to take, but I'm taking these real safe conference tournament games that mean something. So long video again today, and short slate, but I just really like to explain these things to you guys so you understand my thought process, so I can sharpen up these videos, make them a little bit shorter, but a little more concise where you understand my points. There are a lot of metrics behind this, plus a model being built in to give us these advantages. And we're going to capitalize off what we did yesterday, and tomorrow will be another conference tournament day that we will try and do this again. So love you guys. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever you can do to help out this channel to grow in the college basketball forum. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Let's go make some money.